now a faint refrain. Coffee brews and thoughts collide in this early morning ride. Wake up world, let's start the day. Insight flows in a bright array. Questions dance like morning dew. In this space, it's me and you. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup was a whisper. Conversations open doors, spilling thoughts forevermore. Ideas bubble crisp and bright. Words take flight in morning light. Consult the heart, make it sing. New perspectives on each wing.
I was trying to put my headphones in, and it seems like so I'm really sorry, guys. Are you there? Can you hear me? This is the touch and they activate different things on your keyboard. So thanks for jamming with me. Listen, we're gonna do this today. I'm waiting for you. What kind of week have you guys had? It has been a busy one for me, if I'm being honest. It's been the chaos. We've had at the office, which has been kind of busy. Now, guys, let me know what you're seeing on screen. Right now, what I'm seeing is a whole lot of frozen. It's like the video froze. I don't know. I would hate for it to be glitching. So let me just pause for a second. Come over here and say hello to my friends on the live event and see what's going on. Can you hear me? In the comments, let me know. So we do have this ability. Did it just change? Maybe it worked. Maybe it worked. I don't know. Maybe I've been talking through the whole stinking song. Let me know where you're at, guys. I'm also trying this new beta thing on the bottom right-hand side of my screen. If you can see it, there is this little blurry spot, and it's supposed to be showing comments as they come in. And so I really want you guys to go ahead and keep posting those comments. Let me see what we can figure out about this guy, because I'm kind of interested. I know you love Restream because they put the comments on the screen, and so I want to know what you're thinking on this one. Now, guys, today's show, it should be really good. Oh gosh, Aaron, I see your comment. I was talking. My music stopped. I was so sad. As soon as I pulled the headphone out, my music stopped. I was like, no, I was jamming. I wanted surround sound. So whatever, fine. It's my show. I get to talk through my promo. My name is Melissa Houston. I'm the cultivator of dreams, a motivator of human capital. And what that means is I help people figure out what they want to be when they grow up. And we make a plan. We just figure it out. We do so with Venn diagrams and fun. On Saturday, we do it with our, oh, look, there's the comments in the corner. We do it with our Venn diagrams, right? A little bit of coffee, some dreams, some goals, and we do this. Guys, I've been playing in AI. I got to tell you, some of this is my imagery. Some of it I just let AI do for me. And so kind of excited. I wanted to talk about the premise of everything I stand for. That whole document, then act, you hear it all the time. I say it, right? It's out there. And a lot of people don't understand it. If you Google document, then act, I'll be honest, I didn't spend a lot of time on my SEO yet. It's been on my long-term to-do list for a while. But I drive genuine traffic to the website. If you're here, if you're listening on LinkedIn, if you engage with me, you're going to the website. And I have pretty good foot traffic, so I haven't worried about it. It hasn't been priority. But if you go just Google it, you really find a bunch of legal terms, a lot of stuff where it has nothing to do with coaching, right? And for me, that really is a wonderful thing, because high SEO search if you're looking for colorful coach and rainbows and bubbles and stuff, but in the future, obviously. But it really is something that I believe in, and I believe it in my core, to the point where like the YouTube, the website, the everything is based on this, right? And so oh, wow. Intro just ended. Cool. So I've been still talking through the song. Well, listen, I hope you had your closed captions on. Maybe that would help. I don't know. It's okay, though, guys. This is the beauty of technology, is it works when it works. And when it doesn't work the way we expect, it's really fun. It's unique. And it's usually something we don't even know is happening in the wrong way till it's too late. But truth be told, I didn't want to mess it up, right? If I tried to fix it, I would have ended the stream. I know I would have. So we roll. That's how we do in business. I do kind of like this little chat feature. I got to tell you guys, it does nothing for me because I can't read a darn thing there. Just can't. I don't know if you guys can see it, but keep letting me know what you think about it. I can go ahead and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to shut it off here in the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and then I'm going to turn it back on. It did just delete the comments. It's going to refresh, which is kind of neat, guys. I wanted to know, like, if somebody said something I wasn't really excited about, something not so kind or mean, or not something I'd want to align with, I can shut it off and it'll just delete the last. So that's kind of cool. Thanks, StreamYard. Anyhow, back to the show. Document then act. It started literally in my childhood. It was something where my mom, for those who don't know, she wasn't a high income earner. She was a server. She worked in numerous facilities, but the one that I remember most was a Mexican restaurant. And ChatGPT, Canva AI created this image, guys. I just wanted something that portrayed the story, right? The waitress to CEO, and how everybody in between can utilize documentation and action. And it was true when I was sitting in a little cubby in the corner of a busy Mexican restaurant. I was sitting with the owner's son, and we had our little booth and chips and salsa and ranch. And we would just watch them work. And I remember my mom going to this big business table. And guys, if you've heard the story, hold on, we're almost through it again. But she was serving them. And as the young me, I might not have been as supportive as I am now, because in my brain, I was like, oh, my mom's going to mess this up. Everybody had a really unique order. Just think about your last visit with a group to a restaurant. How many people had, things they had to swap, maybe food allergies, things to consider. This one likes sour cream, this one doesn't. And so watching my mom listen to all these people tell her all these variables, right? I was just expecting the mistake. And what I realized was, when she came back, like she wrote it all down. She went, she got the food, she came back, and she served the people. And then I was watching the people eat, because now my mom's gone, right? I'm bored. I'm still looking for something to keep me busy. And they were writing down things too. Every time the boss was speaking, they were taking notes. And it was something that kind of stuck with me. If you think about school, same thing, right? Teacher speaks, we write it down. Anytime you're in a seminar, a TED Talk, or whatever, right? In the workplace, when they're training, you take notes. And so if you really think about it, it's a simple thing. We write it down, get it done, remember it, whatever. There's a lot of science behind the read it, write it, speak it. If you guys know, you're welcome to drop it, but I'm just going to kind of glaze over it for now, because if you want to know more, you'll write it down to research later, right? Document, then act. That's the premise. So what I was thinking this morning, and by the way, good morning. I wanted to say that. I wanted to use this little image a little bit more. I love it. It's in the promo, but it speaks to me. I I wanted to start the day with just kind of assessing what document then act currently means to you. I know you guys know the show. I know you know me, right? And so what does it mean to you right this moment? What is your understanding? How might you use your documentation in your life currently? For me, it varies, right? Like I said, from the server to the CEO, I think everybody writes things down to act on it. Chore charts is an example in a household. I was talking with AI going, hey, you know what? I'm not awake yet. Can you help me just kind of think about different ways people document and track data? And it came back with a great list. I'm going to read you some of this again. This is ChatGPT this morning, helping me just kind of bullet point some of the concepts we would cover. Mindset and emotional health. People are tracking their mood, their energy, stress, pain, gratitude, triggers or emotional wins, negative thoughts or how they reframe them, course events, birthdays, anniversaries, right? Physical health, maybe your steps, sleep, water, heart rate, weight, those kind of things, meal tracking, work and productivity. If you guys are in that hustle culture, maybe have a side hustle, you're doing some work for clients, you're probably tracking how you're moving there, right? Maybe you're doing it daily, weekly, monthly. Maybe you track by the hour, right? If you're an attorney, that would be an example. Maybe a mechanic also would track by the hour. Different things you're using while you work. Are you utilizing resources, right? Because a mechanic will actively have to document everything they grab to use, whether it's a washer, a hose, a clamp, whatever it is, they need to itemize that. The same in a surgery. That's why those medical bills look so fun at the end. So think about that stuff, right? Meetings, emails, finances. Guys, how many of you are tracking your finances on a consistent basis? One of the things I will say I really recommend is doing so. We're going to have to retire one day. We're going to have to live on whatever's in the bank account one day, unless we have created wealth that continues to generate even when we're sleeping, even after we've said, no, thank you, I'm going to the island. And so think about what that means for you. Are you tracking your ability to not work in the future? How long are you giving yourself? What is the time frame we're looking at to hit a certain goal for savings or 401k retirement, those kind of things? Maybe you have a financial goal of clearing out credit card debt. Do you have a plan of action to do so? Paying off the car early. Think about the things you're tracking, guys, because I can't tell you. I know I track all of the tech I use for work. I track all my expenses for my business, right? And so think about these things. Relationships and social is on this list. Social interactions, calls, meetups. Maybe you're tracking that for, your planner here. Maybe it is time spent with loved ones. Do you put in family time in your calendar or, do family events monthly to get together and spend some time at the park, whatever it may be? Excuse me. Maybe you're tracking your reading. How many of you read intentionally each week? Upskill, add new talents to your portfolio. Do you spend any time on YouTube University listening to different ways you could upgrade what you're doing, right? Upskill, maybe streamline, optimize. What about habits and routines? How do you spend your day? When's the last time you just looked back at your schedule? Right? These are things I want to talk about, guys, because for me, I love a good highlighter. I love a good planner. I love a good whiteboard. But what I also love is I know for a fact we track what matters. When I was growing up, my mom wasn't really a tracker. I'll be honest. We didn't get a lot of time on the whiteboard, right? There was not a lot of chore chart happening in the house. We just did what she said. We knew we had chores every day. The house needs to stay pretty tidy, so get to work if it's not. Pretty easy concept for me. I knew that. But once my mom was diagnosed as a diabetic, we had new things to track. All of a sudden, what we put in our mouth mattered in a new way, right? How many calories, how many sugars, how many this, how many that, even carbs. And so when you start thinking about what you're tracking and why, I bet you it comes back to you felt it was important enough to write down, right? Write it down. The shopping list, guys, we've talked about it all the time. That is something that I see most people do often, even if it's just a running list in your head: milk, cheese, eggs, bread, right? You start adding cereal and laundry soap and dryer sheets and toilet paper. How many of them can you list back immediately when I ask you? Now, it might give you that anxiety, like, oh my gosh, I have 15 things, so I got to keep repeating it until it feels like a song I already know. Till when I get to the store, I can do that: eggs, bread, milk, cheese, cereal, over and over and over without thinking about it. And that's cool. And eventually, guys, if you do the same things, write it down over and over, if you sing the same song over and over, you're going to hit it every time. You're going to know. You watch a movie, you can act it out. There are movies that if you just play it, I could do every scene, right? For a while in the 90s, I even sounded like Sebastian the Crab because I wanted to do Under the Sea like he did. If we practice, we can get it done. And so what is your habit? Are you tracking how you spend your time right now? Now, I love this. Look at, so I wanted to see, for those of you who don't know, those show comments on stage is in beta testing on StreamYard. I know that Restream allows it. I think they're competing here. That's just my assessment. But I do like that I can still highlight the other comments. So that's cool. David Cause says, I use journal daily and have for decades with an online calendar. Coffee chat at 8 a.m. Woohoo! 6 a.m. for me, and it's a little early, but look at all these people. Look at all these people joining us. Good morning, guys. So I got to tell you, I'm really excited to see some of you guys, right? Like, by the way, thank you for coming. Oh, I love this. I'm a purple highlighter, not yellow. Okay, cool. Listen, I got to tell you, I love purple. Purple's my favorite color. Sam Kane is a journal empress, I think is her title currently. She does journals too, and I love her for the same concept of that document, right? She really believes in writing things down also. My publisher, Nick, documentation in books, in covers, right? It matters. Because what is the thing you wrote down that mattered to you the first time? Like, what is that first time you wrote something down, put it up on the wall, kept it in the journal, stuck it in your notebook, put it in your wallet? Well, what was that thing and why? Do you remember? I think my first time ever really writing something down and focusing on it with crazy intention, like I'm excited for this moment, was when my mom bought New Kids on the Block concert tickets and she told me what the date was. For me, it was like the best thing ever. I was going to get to go to New Kids on the Block, and I love them. And oh, Jordan was so dreamy. So was John, but he was too quiet for me. Then I fell in love with Donnie. Anyway, moving on. So I tracked it. It was on the wall. And every day I just marked it. I got to tell you, I have something coming. I'm tracking right now. I can't tell you yet, but I'm tracking because I'm excited. There is a countdown, right? And so for me, I track doom things like, hey, mortgage, rent, car payments due, credit card due, right? Those are the things nobody's really excited about, but you got to track them because the money's going to have to go out. But then also the fun stuff. So what fun stuff do you track? I like to do the who, what, where, when, whys, and hows of tracking. Like, what are we tracking? Where in our schedule do we place it? Why do we place it there? Who's coming with? When are we doing it? And how are we going to get there? Right? And so if I say, hey, I'm traveling to destination A, I want to answer all of the rest. Intentional planning is important to the documentation process. Now, when you first start, like who have like draft one, right? Somebody who's written a couple chapters in some books that went international bestseller. There were some drafts there. There were concepts. There were bullet points of ideas that I kind of streamlined in my brain a little bit before I ever got to writing. And sometimes it happens, right? It's mind first. We decide we need to do something, and then we just kind of start bullet pointing it out. We decide, hey, this is something I want to do. Our brain starts processing the data, turns it all around. I always think of like those problem moments or those moments with new ideas as that toddler toy, that little, it's not a circle. It was definitely a multi-sided object, geometrical shape, but it had the different shapes, the stars, the moon, the circle, the whatever. And it was like, you fit the shapes in the side. It was just a hole. of a bunch of different shapes, and you just put the shapes inside the right hole and it sits inside, and then you pull it apart and you can start over. Fun toddler toy to learn how to use your little fingers, right? But that's how I feel every time I take a new concept on for my to-do list. Or if my brain goes, hey, this would be a great idea. I'm like, hey, you little ADHD bunny, can we talk about it? Why is it a great idea? What are you doing here? What is the intention? Are you just excited because you saw blue? Because we don't need to just add a line on the journal just so we can have blue accounted for. What is the purpose? Right? And sometimes, guys, we get going. I don't know if your brain ever feels like this, but I loved this image. If I ever had to take you into my brain, if I ever had to show you how it processes, this is the way. We're on a global platform, so I am constantly thinking big, right? So I really love the imagery of it's global. My brain thinks globally. It does. I think about people from all over the world. I have friends in every country imaginable that I can list, right? I'm not all aware of all the countries, but I have a ton. 15,000 connections on the biggest networking platform out here. It's a good running start, right? But then you think about the concepts. Well, what about women empowerment in some of these areas that maybe don't have it? What about that entrepreneurial spirit being given to anybody with Wi-Fi and a planner? Right? What if we harness it? Not just given, because it's there, right? This is in their brain too before they ever get connected. But once we connect the dots, we can make things happen. And so for me, I'm thinking about those people who could be the Melissa of the 2000s, where I was early into the internet being in my home, right? It wasn't something I grew up with. I didn't have static, guys. I'm older than you may think if you're new to the show. And so when I first had my cell phone access to be connected constantly, it wasn't even really internet at that time, guys. It was more so just being able to text and call at a moment's notice. And when that happened, I still had my planner and my pen, and I was writing things down, but it was a new way to act. Now I had text threads, right? Things I could take with me, notes I could keep forever. Eventually, I got a BlackBerry Pearl, and then I felt like I was just big boss status. I love that little scrolly clicky thing, right? But it connected me to more opportunities. And if you really just think about your platform, wherever your platform is going to be, if you think about connecting the dots in this way, taking your idea, making sure that you're running it through your who, what, where, when, whys, and then making sure you're connecting it to your actions, you're really going to have some traction happen, right? And so what is it you're working on? Did you write it down? Oh, what is this, Nick? What is my new hammock? Where is backyard? When is after lunch? Why nappy time? I like self-care. It's the weekend. You should do that. Although if you keep drinking coffee, Nick, I don't know if you're going to be able to take the nap you're dreaming about right now, right? It might be a living dream, a working dream. So if we're tracking what matters, we're working through the who, what, where, when, whys. What I really like to say happens next is the circles, not cycles. Because the other great thing about documentation is to make sure we're not repeating the bad stuff. Right? Because sometimes we get into our old habits. I got to be honest, as a female, sorry guys, if you're not comfortable with this conversation, plug your ears for like the next 38 seconds. But once a month, I get into a habit of please give me chocolate, my bed, my phone, and leave me alone for a day or two. I'm just going to be here resting. And hopefully it aligns with my time off. Doesn't always. But that's a cycle I can't control currently beyond, maybe some help from some medical action here. But genuinely, like, can I change what my body does? To some degree, yes, there are ways. But if I want to just leave it as it is, go natural, can I change the cycle? No. Can I change the way I handle that process when it comes? Yes, I can change my behavior around it. Maybe I go sit on the beach instead of in my bed. I can still bring the chocolate, still bring the Wi-Fi. Heck, I'm allowed to bring a beach blanket anytime. Nobody says I can't. They don't care. Nobody even asks. So if my concept of is, just, hey, once a month, I know for a fact that I just want to climb into bed and just sit there. How can I maybe change that? Can I bring it to the couch and be more productive in my house with relationships maybe there? Possibly. But guys, this is me being honest. This is one of those habits that I haven't broken. I don't know if I will. I would like to, but when it comes, I don't have the interest. So the only way to prevent it, if I know that this is a coming issue, is to prepare the landing, right? Get a comfy little spot in the couch. Make sure the snacks are ready. Make sure there's something that really brings me there. Okay. For those who just unplugged their ears, welcome back. Guys, what are those habits that maybe you'd like to break? What are those habits you'd like to expand on? And how do you track it? The truth is, without tracking, I struggle. I struggle so much because I get moving so fast. I have so many things that I do in a day. I have so many different facets of business that I'm in that if I don't focus and make sure it's written down, it can quickly escape my brain, right? It's that crap. I forgot to stop for milk. I did not give myself a little alarm or an alert or a note or something to say stop for milk on the way home. So I accidentally forgot because I remembered so-and-so at work needed this instead. And that's okay. You're human. You're supposed to make mistakes, and that's like part of the job. Literally created to not be perfect, if you believe like I believe. And if not, hey, the universe is not perfect. There's cracks everywhere in the ground. Right? But we have to stay in movement. We have to keep trying to fix what's broken if we care enough to change it. And so track what matters. It goes back to, what are you tracking? Are you tracking your weight loss? Are you tracking your sleep? Are you tracking who you're meeting with and how often? And then, more importantly, what do you do with the data once you have it? How often do you assess your data? Because tracking isn't tracking if you're just storing it. I promise you, your step counter is counting. But if you don't look at the chart, does it matter? If you don't look at your score for the day, does it matter? Who's looking at the data? How often? Do you do it with your doctor once a year and then go, sorry, boss, I didn't mean to not get those steps. And I know you told me I did track it. I tracked my steps. And then he goes, no, you didn't. You literally set it to count, but you weren't tracking, right? There's a difference in having information and utilizing it to your advantage to grow. And so being able to just take information, assess it, look at the habits we've created, look at maybe where our weak habits are. If I know that I'm tracking my diet, for example, and then once a week I go out to a girls' brunch and that diet is ruined at the girls' brunch, either I need to change my behavior ahead of time and maybe eat before I go, eat a little bit lighter, not have to eat when I'm there, but still show up to do the other part of brunch, engaging. Maybe I say, hey guys, can we change where we go? Can we go to like a smoothie spot this week? Maybe can we go to a fresh fruit? Can we go get salad? Can we, right, get creative in what you're eating instead of keeping the behavior the same? How do you make the changes? I will say for me and lots of my clients, the documentation and action is cool, right? We talk about it, we believe in it. But if you don't have somebody going, hey, did you look at your data this week? Hey, did you stop and review your why before applying? Hey, how much time do you have this week to actually add another circle to this Venn diagram? Because listen, I'm really good at juggling plates. Really good. I could do many things. I like to work in multiple facets. I can have a retail environment, which I run as a manager and optimize, and we do really good. We're usually in like the top 5 for some of our KPIs, right? My employee, my assistant, she's typically in the top 3 in the nation for that same KPI. Like we're using data. There's no way to beat 150 plus stores and times however many employees in each location, unless you're utilizing the data to your advantage, to assess what's working, what's not. I will even go in and figure out what's selling, what isn't selling this week. Like, have we sold any of this kind of gear? And if I haven't, I will change the floor setup. I will move it closer to the entry so we can get some interest in that segment of the business we're not optimizing. That's one facet of who I am, right? I do coaching, consulting, and then I have my clients' businesses and dreams and goals. And so that's another one. I have a family. I have a daughter. I have a son who has children. We have news coming. The fourth grandbaby's on the way. And so when you, I'm a busy lady, but then I'm also a lady who likes to just be her. I have plants. I like to garden. I water them once a week. I do shows with friends. I have another business called The Emotional Women with Jackie Hallberg. We have some stuff on the back end we're brewing, right? And so I'm a busy, busy person. However, I make it work because I'm clear in my schedule. I'm clear in my boundaries. I will tell people and communicate with them what I can and cannot do. Right? And so when you're thinking about these things, what are your circles? Have you sat down and Venn diagrammed your life? I know you've seen it all over the internet right now. Last year, maybe a year and a half ago, the internet learned the word ikigai and they just went crazy. Gotta tell you, for me, it's the same thing you're looking at on the screen right now that I call Venn diagram. It just has a unique setup, right? The words that they use inside are very intentional for that way of using the Venn diagram. But you can use it for anything. It can be a relationship within the organization. Maybe you have the goal in the center, right? The business A is document and act. We're just going to pretend we're a tech firm. In the tech firm is the center. All the goals for the tech firm are in the center. But then you have all of the different circles. The colorful ones are each of the facets, all of the employees within the business. Maybe they Venn diagram themselves within certain circles, like they're all tech people and that's their circle. And that's why they all overlap in that center white circle. But then maybe they have different departments they're in. And maybe we can overlap yellow and green to do one program. And maybe they're really good in their center on one thing like marketing or sales. Right. And then you go over to the green and the blue on the other side and you're like, hey guys, you're really good at the outbound and the email marketing. So you guys work on that, but you're still tech people who do the tech support when people call in. This is just your other task. Maybe you do it at home. Maybe the whole house is the circle and every single one of these people live in that house. And like the big purple circle is more finances and it's mom and dad and maybe the grown up who lives in the house who's paying rent to stay in the house after 18. Maybe the other one is like all the kids who don't pay and they just cost you money, but maybe they have like lower level chores. Instead of doing finances, they do yard work and dishes and vacuuming and mopping. There's no wrong way to do this, guys, but you have to figure out your way. Maybe you have the Excel spreadsheets. I love a good Excel spreadsheet for finances. And Nick, yes, you can always call me, by the way. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm going to call her and I'll come back to your comments here. I don't want to miss them, guys, but think about the way you're tracking your finances. For me, I have a monthly spreadsheet. I have all outgoing expenses listed and I put them in order of a red, yellow, green approach. Red are those things you can't get rid of. Like they're forever. You're going to pay me forever. You can't get rid of me. I don't care. Maybe it's utilities. I mean, you could go all solar, right? There is a possibility to, but everyday humans, statistically speaking, most of us can't get rid of the mortgage at least for 30 years, right? So that could be red. Maybe we have a car payment and we know that we're on a 2-year car loan. So that's going to be red for 2 years. We can't get rid of it unless we get rid of it. Then we have the yellow, the stuff where like, hey, we don't have to have it. It's not necessary to breathe, but I don't want to live without it. I want internet. I want Wi-Fi at the house. I want to have a Costco membership. I want to have my streaming device, whatever it is, right? Yellow. Those things you don't really want to give up, they're yours. You could, but it's like kind of a non-negotiable at this point. That's cool. That's yellow. And then the green one is everything you could get rid of. The stuff where it's like, yeah, it's super nice to have, but this is the whipped cream where it's like green to go. You can cut the whipped cream at any time because I'm still getting ice cream. It's okay. It's still a Sunday without the whipped cream. And so maybe it's like, I don't know. What do you spend money on, guys? What is that wasteful spending, right? I have heard everybody say the stereotypical Starbucks, but I got to tell you, during COVID, Starbucks was serving all of the hospital workers. And I heard my husband come back and say, yeah, those hospital workers say we are essential. We are. And truth be told, they were, at least in my life, in those healthcare workers' lives. So what's essential to you does not have to be essential to me. And I want to say something to remind you, right? Like, I want to tell you, my list does not have to be your list. If somebody is coming in saying, I'm the financial wizard, and this is exactly what you get to spend your money on and nothing else, maybe you should look around. Because truth be told, I'm not good at sticking to a diet that was made for somebody else. Just not. But if you want a quick idea for a diet, something that I did to lose almost 100 pounds with my husband, he lost more than me. We had this mental concept of rinsing what we eat mentally. Think Thanksgiving with me real quick, right? So you have turkey, stuffing, corn, whatever else, right? Insert whatever you eat. If I were to make a plate, I would think to myself, can I rinse this turkey leg underwater? Would it survive? And would it? Yeah. Would I want to eat a wet turkey leg? No. But technically, if I rinsed it, it would not disintegrate, right? And then, so the turkey goes on the plate. Can I do the same thing with stuffing? No. So the stuffing I should probably skip because it's not something I can rinse with my brain. A block of cheese? Sure thing. I can rinse it. Can I rinse shredded cheese and have the same result? No. So if I get closer to the source of food, chocolate bar versus chocolate sauce, I did better, right? The more natural the food, the more whole the food is when we start to put it in our face, the better. For me, that's what I thought. And it worked. Didn't have to write down a thing. Now, in my brain, I had something documented, like a theory, an idea, and a concept to use, to pull up. And had I not had it down yet, I would have a little card in my wallet going, hey, before you, or in my note, hey, it's 11:59, you're about to go to lunch. Make sure that you remember, don't eat it if you can't rinse it, right? Simple, stupid stuff, guys, changes life for me. Pandora, that's an exact, perfect example. At one point in Nick's life, being at work, Pandora was super helpful. She was driving every day. She would use it on her way to work. Now she works from home. So she cut it. That's cool. That's a quick way to save, right? And I like to do this once a year. We're coming up on that marker of June. And so I would tell you guys, go make your new list. Go into Excel, start a spreadsheet. Put expenses. Make the next one income. And then start listing ways you make income. Start listing ways you spend money, right? Figure out if your totals align at the bottom, right? Have it auto sum for you. If you're spending $5,000 a month, but you're only getting $3,000 a month, you're in trouble. If it's the opposite, that's pretty great. If you can cut it even further, statistically, there's a fact out there somewhere. Somebody help drop it. If you can Google it for me, I don't want to screw it up. But somebody said if you live on 30% of your income, you can become wealthy. And people used to say, like, to be rich, to be able to retire in a really nice house, to be that family, like the, Home Alone family with the big house and all of that. Never going to happen for me. And truth be told, I never want a house that big because I don't want to clean it. I just don't. I've lived in the big house, 19 rooms in the house, and I hated cleaning it. It was a lot of work. But really, there's no magic here. Not except the one we create, right? The magic is in being able to harness what you really care about and write it down and get clear and act on it and make sure that you're moving towards the goal. And then the creative part, the Venn diagram, the fun, the sunshine, the bubbles. That's up to you. Like, you can ikigai, right? Everybody did. Everybody was like fun, passion, what the world needs, what the world wants. Cool. But what if yours looks more like mine? What if it's just like, hey, this is my personal belief system. This is my work belief system. And this is where I live in the center all the time. And the stuff on the right is stuff I could work on for corporate. And the stuff on the left is stuff I could work on for me. What are we tracking? How are we tracking it? I love that Lisa said tracking what you're eating and drinking is very helpful in seeing what you're missing from your diet. And that's true. I can tell you, I don't get hangry unless I'm missing protein. And if I don't get protein, guys, I genuinely can feel the difference. I know my body needs more. And both of my parents are diabetic, right? So I have to be careful because that's a thing that could get me. When I was pregnant for my daughter, when she was in the tummy brewing, I was struggling, and I got gestational diabetes as one of the things I struggled with when I was pregnant. And what I learned was I really am not good if I eat certain things. I love a good cheese, and that would help temporarily. But then I also want fruit. I'm craving those sugars, and the sugar with just that little bit of cheese was not enough. And I was able to feel the difference then, right? To really start assessing that feeling when I could feel the icky, and then I would test the blood sugar, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm right. And then I could start just like without testing, go, ooh, I'm starting to feel that way. Let me grab some jerky. And then when I tested after jerky, 15, 20 minutes later, I was fine and I felt better, right? So once you assess it, once you track it, once you figure out what's happening with your body, you can make good changes. And not just your body, your finances, your business, your relationships, right? I love this profit loss statement. It is. Do you have one for your home, for yourself, for your brand? Do you even know what you spend money on? Because I'll be honest, guys, there have been times in business where me personally, as a coach consultant, I just relied on the bank statements. I was like, I don't want to write it down this week. I don't care this week. I'll just go back through those statement. I'll write it all up then. I'll keep the receipts. It's in the purse. It's in the bottom of the briefcase, whatever it was, right? But then I go back through and I'm like, wow, did we really spend that much money on the business this month? Okay. Right? Or, oh, wow, did we really spend that much money on fun this month? Or, wow, did we really spend that much money on eating out? Right? Think about the ways we can go into quick loss without meaning to. Same thing goes with time. And that is the one thing you can't ever make more of, right? If we really genuinely get into it, time is the only thing you're not going to be able to tap into to get more. And so if that's true, and we're talking about like not being wasteful and tracking and knowing what we're doing, then what the heck are you doing if you're not tracking your time? And so for me, time management and accountability and coaching, it's one of the very first things I want to do with people, is because, like, tell me how your day looks. Do you have set time in your day for business, set time in your day for networking, set time in your day for like personal time? I even schedule for the yes. It's something we've talked about previously in audio events. I'm not sure if it's been recorded, so let's cover it. Now that we're streaming live, hi YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Scheduling for the yes is a time of day for me where I would block out, especially when I was working at home. And I still do this, but just differently now, where I would schedule a core block of time in the middle of my day, usually from 11 to 12, because I'm an early riser, where I would go and do whatever I needed for the moment. It was the moment of like when the nurse comes into the hospital room and they're like, hey, we're going to take your vitals. We need to just check in with you. That's that moment for me. At 11 o'clock every day, I was checking in with myself. How are you feeling? Where are you doing? How far into your to-do list are you? What feels like you're going to be able to accomplish today? What are you not? Sometimes, guys, when I got into that schedule for the yes moment, it was nap time. I was so tired I needed a reset. Or my pain level had gotten high because I had been doing too much or sitting too long. In a quick nap, I've learned, after assessing, writing things down, watching for my pain management, I learned that taking a quick 15, 20-minute nap will reset my pain down to 0 from a high level. And so even on a 30-minute lunch break, I would be able to sneak in the time because I learned how to fall asleep quickly using military techniques. Right? And so if I needed a nap, I could act on that immediately and get it done. The other thing I would tell people is if you're growing a business, we're going to work on that, Nick. She says, I filed dump all my receipts for the business. I'm going to die at tax time adding them up. Yep. We're going to work on that because genuinely you should at least once a month do like a box for that month and then go back in one day and just put it all in. That little bit of time once a month will save you hours at tax time, days sometimes, right? Because you don't have to go dig as far if you're doing it monthly and tracking. So think about these things. Also ask yourself, do I like future me? Because if you like future you, you're not going to make a more successful Nick who's writing more books, publishing with more authors, doing more travel, doing more business, doing whatever. You're not going to make her go and sit through these receipts, are you? Think about how you treat yourself. Think about the to-do list you create for yourself by trying to cut a corner now. And I am guilty. I just told you I was guilty. I went back through all of the bank statements, the Cash App, the Venmo, the PayPal. It was the way I did things, right? And it was slow until you get into the habit of checking more often, having those moments of like, hey, maybe I can't do it all the time, but maybe once a month on the 15th, I can sit down and do it. Maybe it's just a special date, right? Oh, I love this. David, busy all day and accomplish nothing. Yeah. I mean, think about you. Let's take a trip, right? You wake up, you get ready, you're ready to seize the day. Best attitude ever. You're dancing in the kitchen, you made your lunch, you even hit the diet goals, right? You packed a very healthy, balanced, nutritious meal. You're excited for work, you're ready to go, your energy is at the highest it's ever been. You go, 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 go. You're in the car, you're ready to go. You put it in a reverse, you just start driving. Your favorite song's on the radio, you're good, right? You're moving along, you get to the end of the driveway and you're pressing go, but for some reason, you're not really moving forward all of a sudden. You're there, you're driving, you're doing what you said, I'm going to drive to work, and you're just staying in the car because the wheels are spinning. You see the RPMs, but you're not seeing the outside shifting anymore. Do you stop pressing the gas, step out of the vehicle and see why, even though the wheels are turning, even though the RPMs are there, that you're not moving? Or do you just sit in the car knowing, oh, it's fine, I'm going. I'm doing what I said, I'm driving to work. So I'm just going to sit here because I'm driving technically. I'm in the car, it's on, I'm pressing the gas. Think about how you do it in your daytime. Do you go, 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 and you don't ever assess how your actions are moving the world around you? Because you can be spinning all day, but are you getting anywhere? The choice is ours, and you don't have to assess all the time, but you should be assessing to make sure that you're 1, moving, 2, moving in the right direction, and 3, still working towards the same goal as you were yesterday. Because sometimes, guys, we go into a hobby store and we have a new goal, right? That craft kit. Ooh, I want to do it. And then the next day, we don't care as much. Something else got our attention and we've shifted. And that's okay. Priorities change. People do different things for different reasons. New data comes in, we can shift priorities then. But are you doing the filter? Are you doing the who, what, where, when, whys? Are you asking yourself, how does this movement help me? Where does it take me? Are we going up? Are we going down? Social selling index, guys. If you're on LinkedIn and you're not checking your score, you're not doing a great job. I'll be honest. The only reason I push this narrative, and I'm not paid to, LinkedIn doesn't endorse this with me somehow. I'm not paid to get you to use it. It's a free service even. You just go up to that search bar on LinkedIn and open a new tab, right? Don't leave the event. You'll lose some data here. But if you go over to LinkedIn into that search bar and just put social selling index and hit enter, it'll say, hey, check us out, get started. You click on it, you can go get your score for free. And what LinkedIn does is grade you. It tracks your actions on 4 different pillars, and it will give you a score based on what it thinks you're doing. This is cool information if you're going to play on LinkedIn. And then if you're on LinkedIn for business, not tracking how you're scoring based on the way they score professionals on their platform, people who are here intentionally to make business happen. If you're not paying attention to the score the platform's giving you, it's like ignoring your teacher in the classroom. the one who says, hey, this is the criteria to be here. This is what we're expecting from you while you're in the room. You're not checking your grades, right? Nick, it's the little stuff, right? This is the stuff, though, trying to remember later, sitting there, and then if you miss it, what happens if you're audited? The panic of, gosh, what if I forgot that one payment so-and-so sent me, and then I get in trouble for falsifying my taxes or my income. You guys, when it matters, if it's going to be something that matters to you, make sure you're tracking it. That's just what it is. If income matters, track your income. If outgoing bills matter, which they do, because if you don't have the money, your bank gets mad, right? If you don't have the money, the service providers get angry. If you don't pay your rent or your mortgage, you don't have a place to live, right? So you have to track the things that matter. What matters to you, you have to define. And so when's the last time you did it? I am going to open up my stage soon, guys. I would love to have you join and talking about things you track, right? Lisa, I know, tracks her food, right? If you follow Lisa, she's fantastic. She talks about women's health. She talks about all the things we can go through. And the things that if you're going through menopause, ladies, there's a lot to track there. There really is, right? Because every piece of data helps the provider that you go see, or that, try to identify that feeling, even down to the diet, making you feel energized or not. The budget. Guys, everybody has bills. People have won the lottery and then ended up poor, homeless even, after winning a huge amount of money. Why? Because they never learned to track what went out with what was coming in, or how to maintain it, because we're not going to overuse this thing. It's like pushing your engine too hard and not ever looking at the dial that says, hey, I'm redlining here. Hey, there's a check engine light going on. Hey, that noise I'm making, you should probably listen to me soon. What are you not tracking? Do you track your vehicle maintenance, guys? Do you even know how often you should flush your radiator, or check your brakes, or have your hoses replaced, right? How often do you check on your dreams and goals versus like your day job? Are you working your dream job right now, or is there something else on the horizon one day? What is it going to be for you when you're 70? Retired, not working, right? You don't want to work at 70. Maybe you want to give back. You want to be a philanthropist. You want to donate your time. That's super cool. Figure out your who, what, where, when, why, and how, and what it's going to take you to get there. I'm circling some of these concepts, guys, because I really want to make sure you're listening. How do you track your life? How do you revisit what you've tracked? Because writing in journals is cool, but if you never reread your diary or your planner, what are you pulling from it? If you want to join the stage, you can message me. I will absolutely send you the link. I'm trying to multitask here, but guys, I would love to hear from you, right? What is it you track? How often do you revisit it? When did you start tracking, and what were the differences for you? Because I know as a student, the teachers tracked my outcomes, right? I know as an employee, especially in telemarketing and sales and the outbound life that I started in, they tracked my progress and my losses and my close rate and all of those things, right? Even today, I'm tracking KPIs left and right in a retail environment as a business leader, as a background screener who was running the business from right under the owner, right? Just here's the keys, go run it. I'll see you in a week to talk about it. I was tracking everything because I had to go talk to the boss and explain to him, hey, this is what the business has accomplished this week. If I paused you today and said, what are the 5 things you're tracking? Can you list them in the comments? I'm bringing Christine to the stage. Welcome, ma'am. How you doing?
Oh my God, this is such an appropriate topic, Melissa. I don't know how this has been in alignment so much lately, but I couldn't get myself out of bed this morning. I woke up early. I was scrolling on reels and things, and I don't know what I was doing. And I was mad at myself. I was beating myself up really bad, because I have a lot of things to do. And I felt overwhelmed. I mean, I get that. I have 2 points for being up here. One, I was going to say what's worked for me. And the other was what I'm feeling right now. It's just this really, it's paralysis, it's overwhelm, because maybe I let some stuff slide and now it's like built into this big thing. I feel like I can't just do it in one. It's too big of an elephant. But what, so I love this conversation. But what I was going to say was worked for me in the past, and I did put it in the comments here. I said that recently I found out I was anemic, which was surprising to me. But unlike you, I'm a pescatarian, so I don't eat meat, but I wasn't eating enough, rich foods like kale and broccoli and sardines, which isn't probably everybody's favorite, but they're like the iron of the sea. And so I just started tracking that for the week, and I feel so much better. And like yourself, I lost an enormous amount of weight at one point, and the way I did it was by writing everything down, not and trying not to judge myself, but trying to make the right choices and having an accountability partner. And we swore that we would just be honest, even if it was like ugly. And I lost a lot of weight and I kept it off for a lot of years. And now it's starting to creep up as I get older. And this is really pathetic, but I have hip arthritis now. So I have to lose some weight too. I have to watch it to make sure I don't gain all that weight back. So I can't have it creeping up on me. But I wrote it down and I had a successful week. And I was like, even if it's something I quote shouldn't have or what, I just wrote it down because I don't want to lie to myself. But the main reason I got up here, and I'll wrap it up with this, is that I just didn't know where to start. So even if I just do a corner of a room or clean a surface or do a little bit of something that I promised somebody I would do, it's something, and as soon as I got on this, I got out of bed, I started moving around, I ate a healthy breakfast. So you're just what I needed this morning, and you've been just what I needed the past few weeks. So I really love that you do this service and for free. So I thank you for that.
Chris, I love it. Thank you so much. Listen, guys, that's genuinely why I'm here. It's to show up for people on a Saturday. This is the day most of us don't have to run off to the office, right? We're at home, the world's quiet. Maybe the kids stayed up late. They're kind of in their bed still. This is that time where I schedule for the yes. I schedule for the new client because, truth be told, this does bring new clients, right? People get excited about what they hear and they're like, show me, do it. I want you to be my accountability partner. And then there's other people who are like, this is where I come once a week for free because I don't have the ability to do it otherwise. But whatever it is, it's a great place to start to have the conversation with yourself. And Chris, how long have you come to the show genuinely? Like how
Wow.
long since the beginning, right?
A while. Yeah. I always get something great, but lately I feel like they've been extra good, or they just align like miraculously with what I need to hear for the day. Yeah. Coming for a while. I'm a fan.
Well, thank you. I mean, honestly, it's been years where we did the audio events, and they were a lot of, I think the difference for me, and I feel a little bit different this year too, is that there is more clarity in the recordings, right? I'm trying to make sure that we are on topic since we're putting in the work. My alarm. Sorry, guys. And since we're putting in the work, that people can find it, right? If I'm going to show up and give it away, I genuinely love that it's going to live on YouTube and wherever forever. And so trying to be more concise and clear and focused for you guys has been the goal. So I'm glad it's working. But also I've been living on what's active in my life. I'm using what's aligning for me in real time to talk to you guys. Even the show topic this week, I wasn't going to pick it. I had no idea what I wanted to write about. I thought about on Monday, hey, I should post the show, get some more traction. Usually I'm like coming in on a Thursday for some reason, but it's because I pray every morning and say, God, tell me what to do. Like, give me some direction. And if I don't feel like it's exactly what I'm supposed to do, I don't. And so Monday I was off and I didn't do it. Tuesday I'm off. I was off and I'm not usually, but I hadn't posted yet. And that's why I was like, hey, you're off. You should be doing it. And I still didn't. But then I got a text from one of my employees and she showed me that I won a prize at work. We're at the motorcycle shop that I run here in town for sharing a wellness tip. And what I love about my company is they have this open platform. They ask for feedback nationwide. They allow you to put your 2 cents in and they genuinely appreciate it. Well, what was cool is they took my document, then act, the write it down technique, to streamline processes, optimize, revisit your analytics, all this stuff, right? And they took that commentary, including the I do a show on LinkedIn, and they shared it company wide. And then they did a drawing for prizes, and I got to win a soda stream machine, which was really neat. I didn't expect it. I thought it was just going to be kind of this HR backend concept that they might use at some point. I didn't expect it to go out. Well, then this week, guys, my number one viewers for places people work are the place I work. And so then I'm like, oh, a little nervous because, hey, we're making ripples everywhere, right? Some of the people that might be listening are new today. They may work with me at the environment, which is unique to think about. But at the same time, it's what we do here, right? And so I thought, well, if they're going to highlight me and they're watching, let's show them what it's about. And it is something we've done for a long time. We talk about tracking, we do it. We talk about all of the fun and the bubbles and the Venn diagrams, but it's really just when it aligns, when you can see it in action. I mean, Chris, you've been documenting your journey on LinkedIn of being in school. We know a lot about you because of your sharing here. Even with your voice, you're documenting your journey and your story. And so, you've had a ripple. How much change has happened in your life just by speaking to what you've done on this platform?
I don't know if I understand that question totally. Sorry.
Sorry. No, I mean, I know all of the actions you've taken for school, right? Going back and getting your degree and the things you've worked on personally and the stuff you've gone through with work and employment and all of the things.
Yeah.
And so what did you get out of it? Because you shared a ton with us, but what do you feel you took out by sharing?
I got to tell you, like this, there's so many things that have happened over time, but I think it just making it public, just accountable to get through it. That helped. And then even I had like a work situation where I didn't think I was going to come out the other end. And there's a lot of moving parts to that. There's a lot of things that I think were not my fault. There are some things that I recognize now may have been my fault. But it just, I don't just not even just sharing in posts, but sharing in rooms like this. It does give you more clarity and keeps you moving forward. And now I feel like it's a really good fit. Like the team that I have now, the alignment I have, even all the way through to leadership. And I'm doing a lot more, and it's a lot of work, and we're going through a transformation at my company, but I don't hate my job or anything like that. I kind of like it. And I did like it, then I didn't like it, then I liked it again. So it's so weird how things like ebb and flow and how things turn out sometimes how you don't expect. And what I'd like to do now is I still want to get my PMP, but again, there's so many moving parts in my life. But I put that down in my career journey that's something I want to do by the end of the year, so that again, and there's steps I have to document in my own career journey for myself that will sort of be focused on that, on completing that task. So I think the accountability piece is big, and the same thing, like even to one person or to a number of people or in your career plan or on shows like this, and also writing it down, that there's definitely something to that, that makes it stick.
Well, and I don't know about you guys, but have you used that feature of just using social to remind you, or your OneDrive or your Google Suite, right? Like where they just tell you, hey, here's your memories from today. And I don't care if it's screenshots. I don't care if it's posts I've done from other places when I downloaded the Canva or the image that I created. but they pop back. And I got to tell you, it's crazy to me to see the distance from that post till now, right? Even that
Yes.
kind of documentation, guys, change, like just looking at mile markers in history. I think one of my favorites that kind of brings the warm and fuzzies all the time is where grandma or your parents like take the ruler on the kitchen door frame and they measure you as you grow, right? Just to be able to stand next to that marker on the wall shows you the growth. Taking pictures of the plants as we started. I had this little plant that I was babysitting for a friend that wasn't more than 5 inches wide, like you just as big as my hand, maybe stretched out. And now I have hundreds of plants and they're all bigger than that, or not all, but a lot of them are. And the first plant is now 4 plants of the same size, all in one pot. Growth. I can see it visually. That's what data does, guys. What's really cool with AI, and I'm sorry Felipe had to leave, but I'm glad he came. Hope he has a great breakfast. But with AI, at work, we have this AI group that we like practice on. They really want to push using it for some fun stuff in our industry. And they've been talking to it about data, right? They're like, hey, this is the data. This is what we know. This is what we don't. And it's showing us new ways to use it, new ways to process it, new ways to document it. What if you took your, not any personal identifying information, I'm going to say it very clearly, but what if you just put rent, this amount, insurance, this amount, utilities, this amount, this is my income, this is my output. How do I streamline this? What would you recommend me cutting? How could I negotiate better rates with the credit card company? This is my interest rate currently. Is there any room? You can talk to it without giving it who you are. Don't say, hi, I'm Bob, and this is my social and date of birth, and this is my credit score. But you can say, if somebody has a credit score of 800, 700, 600, how would you recommend, whatever the score is, how would you recommend they finance a car, plan for a home, whatever it is, guys? Like, go in and ask the good questions, but you're not going to know what questions to ask unless you're assessing the data. And you can't assess what you can't see. So what are we looking at? I mean, Christine, let's be honest. How often do you plan your shopping list before you go? Do you have a budget in mind, and how do you stick to it?
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'll tell you, I do a lot on Instacart, and the problem is too, is my kids will go in there and add, they'll know I'm shopping on Instacart and they'll sneak in a bunch of or I'll tell them, if you're going to add something like a snack for school, it's got to be healthy. And then it's like chocolate chips coming in the house or whatever. But when I go to the supermarket, I do still do that. It's terrible. Yeah. I don't, even if I have a list sometimes, Melissa, I like the idea of attaching the budget amount. That's what is probably missing, because I'll veer off the list. Yeah.
Honestly, okay, so here's a story for you guys. When I was on welfare, I did not have a car. I had a son. We did everything by bus, but he was 5 years old maybe, right? And I got one trip to the grocery store to do mass shopping. A friend of mine would take me. Well, she did her shopping also, and she had problems budgeting. I could get my list together and go up to the register and literally tell them, Christine, it's going to be like $198. And they would come up at $197.68. And the lady next to me, my friend Regina, she would just look at me in awe, right? Because I could do that. But to get the ride, I had to help her with her budget. Now, let's paint the picture real quick. It's me and my son and I. And then it's her and her 4 children. We have 4 carts minimum, usually 5 carts full of food. We're running through a Walmart in a choo-choo train. The rule that I always have in grocery shopping is no more than 3 items that aren't on the list. It doesn't matter what the items are. It's not even a budgetary thing. You can grab 3 random items. I gave this idea to my son where he could add any 3 items on the list he wanted. And what was great about it when he was younger is he always asked for the things I would buy anyway. He wanted oranges. He wanted juice. He liked ramen noodles. And so he wanted ramen. As somebody who was on a budget, those are things I was going to buy anyway, but he felt super excited. The grown-up friend, Regina, she struggled, but I watched her make decisions. She would get her Pringles, which she loved, and it was just mom's can of Pringles for her little cubby when they go to bed. There was like 2 other things she'd throw in, but that was it, even if the Pringles were $1. And we would take 5 carts. I would feed both households on the budget using each of our own allotment of, income for the month and shop. And the only thing we had to buy was bread, milk, and eggs for the rest of the month. Quick little stuff you pick up on the go. I did that with her next to me, with the kids, and a list. Because every time I put something in the cart, I was like, oh, $3.98, put it next to the thing. And so when I looked back at it, I would just round to the nearest dollar, and then I would add an extra dollar every time it hit like 5 or 10. I would just add an extra buck here or there. And we'd hit it. Now, Chris, when is the last time you went, okay, you can only get one thing each?
A lot of times.
And does it work better then?
I get a lot of kicking and screaming. I think I haven't set enough boundaries around that, and that's a whole other conversation. But when I'm struggling, I like your idea of 3. That sounds really fair and cool. I like that a lot. I was like, well, how come I never thought? It's so simple and so obvious in a lot of ways. It still feels like they're getting a lot, but it's not adding 22 things, or which has happened sometimes, something crazy. And yeah, now I'm in I hit a bump financially. I'll get out of it. So I got to be careful with that. And when things were, when the money was flowing more, I was a little bit more lax and probably wasteful. So now it's kind of hard to reverse that. But I need to set that example too for my kids to be sane with money and understand, income versus output, like you were just discussing, and that there's that disease of more. I just have to have more. And then it's never satisfied, right? You just want more. But what I'm struggling with is I've been lax on the snacks. I've been lax on the spending, just letting things happen. And now I've got to pull it in, you know what I mean, to get some control around it when I've handed over the control. So that's a big problem for me right now. That
Are your kids tech active? Do they have devices?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of them do, right? But I asked because there was an app that I used when I had 4 kids in the home. It was really hard to keep track of them all, plus the business. And this is another tracking for me, guys. But Our Home, OURHOME. Again, not paid for this endorsement at all, but I utilized it. I loved this app. I could go in and set up our household. We could put individual users there. We could create little like emojis, kind of like we do on the internet for our faces. And we could create chore charts. We could create a chore list and allocate points to the chore, like taking out the trash was 5 points. And anybody could go grab that chore and earn the points. The points were tied to reward systems. Everything from the kindergartner who loved shiny pencils at 5 points. That was the first prize somebody could win. And then it went up from there. And I went to a dollar store and filled up a goodie bag, guys. I just grabbed a bag and I just started shoving a bunch of toys in it. And I took the whole bag to the counter and said, bring the whole thing up. And it cost me about $50, $100 the first time. But I had art supplies and crafts and cool little action figures when like Marvel had just come into the dollars system. And it was kind of cool, right? Just fun stuff for young kids. It took off. Chris, all they wanted to do was get in that goodie bag. Just like in school, elementary education concepts, they wanted their reward bag. And so I required 40 points a day. You had to, when I say I, but my husband and I, right, we talked through it. But as a parent, we required 40 points a day. That was homework, brush your teeth, make your bed, the stuff that we absolutely non-negotiable you have to do to survive in this house. This is your chore. And if you didn't hit it, you lost your phone. That was your pay for tech, your minimum requirement to hit your bills, right? To teach them, you have to survive out there. And there are going to be minimum bills that have to be paid no matter what, whether we like it or not. This is how you pay for that tech. Once you have the tech, then you can earn more money, right? Same concept. If you don't have a cell phone, if you don't have internet, how are you going to apply for the jobs, right? So you got to get money to make money in a lot of ways. Teaching them that young doesn't make it ugly in the future, right? They're like, well, of course I have to brush my teeth when I wake up. Of course I have to go to work to make income. Of course I have to take care of myself for my body to take care of me. So you plan that with your family. Make it a fun activity. Then brainstorm the trips, the prizes, the games. We did $100 gift card. It was 500 points. It was a lot. But if you sat down and earned 100 points or 250, whatever it was worth it to us. You want to earn points and not do chores. You really hate cleaning and you don't want to do that. That's not what you want to do for points. Cool. Go read. It's the fastest way to earn points in our house was reading. Because listen, you don't have to do the active cleaning if you're the boss guy, right? You can hire the janitor, but bosses read. So go read. So Chris, I would recommend this same kind of concept because it also helped with discipline. They're talking back. I'd say that's 5 points. Right? I've already stated my piece. We're not arguing this. That's 5 points. They kept going. I was like, that's 10 points. And then my eyebrows kind of like, wow, you're spending a lot of points here. One more time. That's 15 points. And then the face on the person, the child is like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere just complaining and yelling about it. Let me go think about a way to do this better. Right? And Chris, it was a game changer. What do you think about this?
I like it because, because of a lot of reasons. I have one child who is extremely money motivated. Even my sister noticed. My sister had her for a few days and she was like, God, Elizabeth will do anything for a dollar. She'll just do anything. Or inside my garbage pails, power washing them. But she's very talented. My other daughter, not not so much. But she still likes Ulta stuff, stuff that is expensive that I don't want to, like name brand stuff. So I'm sure she would, but she also doesn't like chores, but she does like to read. So I think, it wouldn't hurt for her to read more, or maybe I could add, doing math problems or something like that. What? You have an A in math? Okay, all right. Excuse me, maybe not.
Woohoo! Congrats on the A in math.
Yeah. She's.
But truth be told,
you know what? But she's excellent at school, and she's really giving with everybody else except for mom. So just kidding.
But you know what? My grandma used to tell me all the time with her 8 kids. She's like, if they're terrible for you but good for public, you're doing it right. Because they're supposed to drive you crazy. But good job on the A in math. Honestly, though, Chris, whatever it is, like having the conversation as a family, right? So you can have them invested. If it's an Ulta gift card, make it an Ulta gift card. That's okay. We had one that was $100 gift card for like Roblox. They wanted Roblox gift cards. And I'm a weirdo. I don't like to spend money on things that I don't touch. Right. And so for me, it was one of those things.
You put me down.
Oh, yeah, I am putting you down right now.
I can't figure it out.
There we go. It's cool. Bye, Chris. I moved you off the stage. But having that gift card, having the opportunity for them to pick their prizes. One of the things that we did, because for kids, they're motivated differently too, right? My daughter was very into art projects and crafts and Play-Doh and stuff as a first grader. Her next oldest brother was in 3rd grade. They're like 18 months apart. So it's every 2-year kind of skip thing. So then we had 1st, 3rd, and 5th. Then I had a junior high school student at the same time. And so motivated differently, right? But can I say, hey, you can go shopping with a budget of X. If you hit this point total, yes, pick your store, right? Any store you want. You'd have a budget to spend, or you get a Visa gift card. Use it any way you want, right? And then we explain to them the value of a Visa gift card versus a gift card tied to a specific brand. The flexibility, the ability to change your mind on how you want to spend the money. If you decide, oh, I don't want to spend all of this whole total here because I only wanted one thing here for $27.99, and now I want to go to the other store and also spend another $27.99, and then again. Right. And so giving them that example of how you can do the things that we have to do every day. really changes life. Same with business, guys. I've been talking a lot about personal, but what about business? We talked about expenses and outcome, but what about time? How much time do you spend on LinkedIn, and what are you doing with the time there? Are you absorbing? Are you a sponge? Because that's important, right? To take in new data is very important in life because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. But if you're just here watching and you're not acting, if you're not commenting, if you're not engaging, if you're not taking notes and writing down the tools and the tips and the stuff that people are giving you, are you remembering to act? Because I can't tell you what I talked about 3 weeks ago unless I really think about it. And I hosted a whole show. I did a whole setup in Canva. I did it all, right? But I don't know. But if I go back into my events list, I can easily come back and read the promo information because it's documented there. It's stored there indefinitely as long as LinkedIn keeps it there for me to go read back and go, oh yeah, that's right. Same with food. When was the last time we went out for Mexican food, Chinese food, whatever, right? You can go back. If you're tracking that, you can. Maybe you take a picture of all your food. Maybe you forget where you had that food, but you took a picture at the restaurant so you can go back. I don't know, guys. I will tell you I spend quite a bit of time on LinkedIn, but I'm very strategic. And I'm going to share some of my secret sauce for LinkedIn, right? I will tell you when I was actively participating in LinkedIn the old way, and there are 2 versions of how I play here, I was posting 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would try to plan my breakfast, lunch, and dinner posts to align with the East Coast breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because if the East Coast eats breakfast at, say, 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, wouldn't it be wise to start a coffee chat breakfast show for those people? Those who may not have breakfast yet, maybe they don't eat for an hour, they're still going to come in. Like when the East Coast has transitioned into 9 o'clock, we have 8 o'clock just behind it, and 7 and 6 all the way over to the Pacific Coast, right? But if I have a 2-hour show, I'm basically covering breakfast. That was strategic. That made sense to me. It also made sense that if you're going to be active on LinkedIn, you're probably going to do it when you slow down enough to grab your phone and really take in data. When do humans usually do that? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you're at work, you usually grab your phone and go check your social while you're in between because you want to see what's happening in the world while you're focused on other things. So I have trained my brain to be up early to talk East Coast time. So 4 a.m. wake up is normal for me. I spend a lot of time in the morning scheduling for my yes to my brand, yes to my business, yes to my dreams, goals, and others, right? That's how I was able to find time to write books and to coach, is because I do it before I do the rest. It's a non-negotiable time frame. No matter what else happens the rest of the day today, I invested in my business, in myself, to give back to my friends, my clients, the people I say I want to give back to. I scheduled for my yes. But then I log out. I don't sit here. I know people say you're supposed to sit here and comment for a set amount of time. And you know what? That's cool for some people. And if I spent the time, I know I've had outcomes. I had over 1 million impressions in a year as one human on the internet. I didn't even have a ton of brand stuff to offer except writing it down, using Venn diagrams, color, journals, planners, fun. That's cool. It works because I'm consistently tapping that same spot. So when you think of those things, typically my name comes up. If you know me and you see a Venn diagram, most of you tag me. They're like, hey, Melissa, look, I see this. This is you. That's cool. That was for me, right? That's why I do it. But what does your day look like? Because when I leave here and I go and clock in at the other place at about 9:30 Pacific, I don't sit on the internet anymore. I do have a few 10-minute breaks and I take those and I will check the phone like you guys would, right? I might leave a quick comment. I might throw a couple likes, but then I'm back to it and I forget you guys until I'm back on another break. And I don't feel bad about it. And that's why I'm sharing. One thing is I am successful in my personal life, doing the books, doing the coaching, doing this, right? Spreading onto new platforms, being monetized on social media, on Facebook, monetizing LinkedIn, even though they don't pay me to be here, I get paid for being here by people like you, right? Because you want to be me one day or want to learn how to do whatever it is I know how to do. I don't know. I've heard it all. And I'm not trying to sound big headed, but I've had customers come to me and say, I want to be a coach who does what you do, but for my own thing. I'm like, great, let's do it. So I do that, right? And that's fun and that's successful. And I'm never going to stop doing that because, like Felipe and I have talked about, this is our retirement plan. This is something where if you're going to do a job, when you're coaching with me, I ask you, what would you do as a 5-year-old billionaire on a Saturday? Because whatever you would do as a 5-year-old billionaire on a Saturday is something, you're not paid for. You're a billionaire. You don't have to go hustle. It's the weekend, whatever. But if you would go give back, if you would go donate your time, if you would go teach others to make money, whatever that thing is, you should be doing it for free right now or for pay right now. So for me, I will always give advice. I can't help myself. I am always going to feel like that older cousin who's going to show the baby cousins how to do the thing I know how to do. And so here I am doing it. Now, LinkedIn feeds you energy back when you feed it. And the more consistently you feed it the same kind of energy, the better it does, right? If you chop a tree down using the same force with every strike, you're going to chop it down faster than if you're hitting it softly this time, in a firm way the next time. So get consistent in your actions and the strength in which you show up. I show up pretty consistently on a Saturday for 2 hours. That's a strong presence to be here talking, teaching, speaking. Sometimes I have guests come to the stage. Before it was just guests, right? I was really lucky. I was just having everybody up here playing after 30 minutes of talking. And it was great. But I am having better outcomes now. And I will admit that. Because I can go back and I can pull the content, I can crop it, I can reuse it. I can go back and listen to it in a way I couldn't before. And I can learn from myself. I can learn what I like about what I say, what I don't like about what I say, right? And we've talked about assessing. You're going to write your story either way. We've said that too. And I'm going to bring that up because if you're going to write your story, wouldn't you want to make sure you're rereading it from time to time and like checking what words you're putting on paper and making sure that it's resonating with the people you want it to resonate with before you write the whole book? A lesson, anything. Like, have you ever had to do a demonstration? If I sat here and just had this as my static screen the whole time, or just this the whole time, it's cool. But at some point, aren't you bored? And so how are you showing up differently in your own life? Do you get bored with your own dreams and passions? And if that happens, what are you doing to fix it? You got to assess. What are you guys working on? I know, David, your comment said that you were working on business. Here it says business. Time spent on things that are not your talent. Me writing, photography, printing. Do what you do best. Contract the rest. That's it. Oh my gosh, David, I love this because what I've taught, right? If you have a business, if you're one of those people who has finally done the thing and you're active and you're killing it, the next person you hire should do the thing you hate the most, you least like doing in your business. Most of the people that I have worked with, when I see businesses, the first person they hire is a receptionist. Because by the time you're busy enough to be able to afford help, you don't want to be the only one answering the phone. When you're on the phone with a client, you don't want the other line ringing without somebody else to help answer that. It makes sense. Maybe you're a homemaker. Maybe you don't have to work. You have a one-income household and you guys are successful. Maybe you spend your day doing whatever you want, taking care of the house, whatever, and then you have a child. Well, it just shifted, right? Something just happened. Now you got more to do every day. Eventually it gets to the point where maybe you feel burnt out. I did. As a parent, I would get overwhelmed, especially with multiple children and a job and the things and all the stuff that comes with work and business and after school activities and the fun, right? If I could have added a housekeeper at that time, I think life would have been easier. We couldn't. So I wasn't doing business stuff like this on the internet at that time. right? I was just a LinkedIn profile that sat there until a recruiter found me or stumbled upon me. But as they got older, as they opted into that Our Home app, as they started helping out with chores more and needed less hands on all the time, not in diapers, not constantly trying to hurt themselves in some crazy way, I was able to refocus energy. And so, are you tracking where you spend your time? Are you giving yourself grace when you don't have time to spend on the things you really want to be doing? And if you don't have the time, do you have other resources you could allocate to that thing? Because what's important to us, we track. And if we're tracking it, we should execute, right? If you are working hard on something, how are you going to know when you're successful if you're not paying attention to the data? Because even on the internet, you can go viral, but if you don't know why you went viral, can you replicate it? When I look at LinkedIn stats, right, and I'm going to pull up an old image here just because it's already uploaded. We talked a little bit about my data, right? This is content performance for a year. And you can see there were peaks where I hit like 11,000 people in one day and you could see there's others where I wasn't hitting that. But you can see consistently I was sitting in a zone during certain times of the year. So if I went back to the data and said, hey, what was going on between September 13th and March 14th that hit so hard? I can tell you it was Social Saturday. Anybody remember? That 11,438 was when I think I posted something about, hey, I'm Melissa. This is who I am. If you like to color and crayons and journal and planners and whatever, right? I just told them who I was and I used hashtags effectively and it popped. Well, everybody was doing Social Saturday. So while it was beneficial, I wasn't the only one doing it. It didn't have the same gusto after, but it still worked. So I was able to replicate it week after week. And that's where you see the spikes is it was on a Saturday. Every few days, you would see that pop up. Now, I was still maintaining consistency in the middle, especially as we get right in that, I wish I could show you where my marker is, but that second big pillar, right? Not the 11,438, but the one just under it. That one that was probably about 9,000 views, closer to March 14th. If you look at the data just below that second pillar, right? You see a lot of really dense data lines. I was circling right in that 4,500 to 6,000 mark consistently with my content then, right? Then I took a break in March. Once a year, I like to take a little bit of time off the internet. And that March, I actually deleted the app from my phone. And I was still able to maintain data consistency, right? And so looking at it, knowing that even though I didn't stay on the internet the whole time, even though I wasn't hitting 11,000 every time I hit a post, I was still able to hit 1 million plus impressions in a year. And that growth rate, triple digits. Going back into the work environment, which I'm in now, when I took the store over, it was struggling in a lot of ways. And the stuff that was being tracked, it was tracked, but we didn't care if the data was off. Right? Like, and I don't want to say we as a whole, because the team there, they tried, but they didn't know how to fix it or assess the data or gap fill, right? That person didn't have the experience behind them to see what I can see. And I'm trying to share that knowledge now with you guys. I'm only good at tracking because I look at where the drops are and then I assess the drop. Why is it a drop? Well, because you take a break on Sunday, right? You're always going to drop that week. Or back then I was, especially. Saturday was a busy day, right? Now I post every day, once a day, minimum. I try to post first thing in the morning so you guys can wake up with me because you're used to waking up with me on a Saturday, except maybe Ken, who a little late, but you're allowed to be fashionably late. And I'm not drinking coffee either. I'm drinking water today. It's just a chat, a coffee chat. That's it. But tracking what matters. Are you tracking your time, your energy? Do you know when you are best focused in the day? And do you make that time yours or somebody else's? I'm going to be honest. I do really good between 4 a.m. and 11 a.m. Super hyper focused, all of the data, the management, the processes, the procedures, that's when I want to tap into that. The second half of the day, I want to not engage that part of my brain. I don't want data necessarily. I don't mind looking at numbers. I don't mind checking how we're doing, checking our score. But at that point, I just want to engage with humans. I want to be able to communicate, have some fun, insert stuff that I know that the data told me I need to insert, right? To act on the data. And that's my best time. If I don't have protein by 11, though, I know I'm really off my marker and I'm probably hangry. So by 11, I have fizzled out. I need to eat by, say, 12:30, 1 o'clock. I am back on top and I'm dancing and I'm playing and we're having fun. And then about 5:30, 6 o'clock, I feel it again. It's so funny because it's almost like meal times. I get tired and I need more fuel. There are different segments in the day that once I've had like breakfast and lunch, I want to get up and move. I don't want to sit at the computer because then I'll get exhausted. And I know this about me. So I've optimized how I use my time in my day based on what I know about Melissa. If I had to do it the other way, right? If I had to code to work immediately upon waking up, spend my time from 4 till 1 at that space, and that is my best time to be creative, my employer gets the best time. And then when I come home, I'm too tired to give me time. So that's why the schedule for the yes was evolved, right? Like, how do I keep giving myself a little bit of something because I deserve some too? I deserve the best parts of myself also. And not everybody believes that, right? We give, and then we just don't have anything left for ourselves to tap into what we care about. Kenya is hangry every day. I believe that. I believe. Guys, what do you know about you? Is it still the same? Because I'll be honest, if you were to ask me about my best self schedule at 18, it would not have been the 4 to 11 a.m. mark. Wouldn't it? I was really good at like being early. I remember even waking up early my whole life. Even as a kid, I would wake up early and go over to my neighbor's house to pick up my friend for school. Sometimes I'd get there before the kid was even ready, and I'm already ready on the way. But in my teen years, that was not true. I was best between like 5 p.m. and 1 a.m. When the world was sitting down watching TV, leaving me alone, my distracted little brain could focus best. And so I missed a lot of school when I was in junior high and high school because I could not focus in that class anyway. Let me go have my fun and then I'll do my homework at home and I'll still have a good grade. I might, get dinged for attendance, but I'm fine. And I was in school before they actually had like a minimum or maximum missed days thing. In Arizona, I missed 57 days of school in one class and still had the top grade. Because I would take my homework home and just do it there. When do you feel best? Now, David says morning is strength for humans. It's proven. I would love to read the data on that. Like, who tracked that, right? We're tracking what matters here. Where did we get that data from? Because if you know this is true about humans as a whole, like, hey, they need air and water, you should probably give yourself some fresh air and some good water. If you know that there's a minimum water allotment you should have every day, you should plan for that. You've seen the cups maybe where they just draw lines on it and they put a time frame. By 10, you should be here. By noon, you should be here. By this time, you should be here. You're tracking your progress for your water intake. Maybe you have an app, an alert system. When I was tracking my weight loss, the very first thing we started with, and it happened at a Taco Bell, and I'll never forget it. Big fan of Taco Bell. Even today, still will go. I love it. I can't help it. But what I know is we were talking about losing weight. And I thought, well, you know what? Let's just start tracking, right? We'll just write it down first. We'll see where we're at. But I really want to get serious. And it was our last meal in the evening of a day. And we were going to start the next day. So I installed my Fitness Pal. Again, not endorsed for this, but you can tag them if you want. MyFitnessPal, and you could plan your meal, like put your meals in. They had all the fast food spots too. So if you wanted to put Taco Bell in, all you had to do was put in the meal you ordered, what size drink you got, and it would put all the nutritional data in for you. I was like, that is so cool. I'm lazy. I want to do that. I don't want to track all the nutritional content. But if you're going to do it, I will take the data. They also track your weight. They also track your water intake. And there's some other stuff you can track, right? So super cool. Started. We put Taco Bell in it, and it was over 2,000 calories for one meal. That's a lot. If you know what the average human is supposed to have, like we're pretty much there. That's it. You use extra sauces, you get some extra sour cream. We're pretty much done for the day. We can't eat. And I don't know about you guys, but when I eat Taco Bell, I'm hungry like 8 minutes later. Not really 8 minutes, but it doesn't stick to the ribs the way other meals would. Genuinely, I don't feel like fast food does that for me at all anymore. I really like to have those high nutrient dense meals. They do better. I feel it. So we put it in there. I showed my family. I was like, we got to stop doing this. And we just cut out the fast food and we started cooking from scratch. And and not scratch, like I would open up some cans, right? And I would rinse the beans that were already in the can. And then I'd season them up with a little bit of something here and there. And it was like home cooking, but fast. But we would do egg casserole bakes where we just scramble a bunch of eggs up, dump in some green chilies and some onions and some like rotel or something, stir it all up again and bake it till it was firm. And you could eat the egg bite squares. And it's kind of like those egg bites that you get at Starbucks, but you can customize it and do it your way. And it's 20 minutes and it's cents on the dollar compared to buying the little circular ones. And we'd eat them. And then I had this high protein breakfast that actually sustained me so long. And so I wasn't eating as often or as much because I was eating the right things for my body to be happy. Think about your budget, same kind of concept. Going to the grocery store versus not. Instacart, I am a big fan, right? Like I like Instacart. I was using it for a long time. Uber Eats, DoorDash, still very helpful when you're a busy person who can't leave for lunch and didn't bring something. But it doesn't fill me the same way, right? Like if I plan ahead, if I look at the cost, if I try to track my spending, it's hard because not just like, hey, maybe you're on Instacart and you're like, I'm only going to get this and I'm spending this budget, and you stick to the budget. But then Bobby Sue goes shopping for you at the store and is like, oh, I don't know what yam you wanted, but I'm going to get you this big yam. And it's 9 pounds and it's 5 pounds of yam. And so you just spent $45 on one yam. Could it happen? I don't know. Probably not. But what happens if, right? They've done swaps. They've done substitutes for me. And maybe they weren't thinking about my budget when they did the swap. You're not in control once you hit, please do this. Yes, you can ask, but sometimes if you don't respond quickly enough and they want to get moving, they just make your decision for you. Who do you want planning for you? You or the Instacart lady who just wants to get it done and doesn't care what your menu says, right? What if they said, hey, I'm swapping your eggplant for tomato? It's okay. In Italy, they use both pretty regularly. You'll be fine. Well, that eggplant parmesan is out the window, right? Who are you allowing to spend on your behalf? And do they have the authority to make that decision? If they have the authority, are they keeping your end goals in mind? Do they know you well enough to make a valid decision for you? Or are you just letting a stranger decide what you need in your produce bucket this week? There's no wrong answer for you as long as you're happy with the outcome, right? If I was Kim Kardashian and I had that kind of income where I just don't even care, I don't care what DoorDash brings me. Bring me all of the yams. I want one of every color. I don't care, right? I don't care. But if I do care, then I have to track it. And if I track it, then I need to revisit what I'm tracking. And I need to assess it. And I need to adjust based on what I see and what my goals are. So then it gets to the question I'm going to ask again. What are your goals? What are you working on? Do you even know what your actions do for you? Is it part of the bigger plan? Is it something that you're just kind of, hey, this seems like fun right now? Because fun is okay. And if it's the time for fun and that's all you're doing is mindless fun and you don't want to think about it, that's cool. But if you're really stressing and you're like, why is this always happening? And you're not trying to get your answer. If you keep trying new things and yet you keep ending up with the same results, right? They say doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results makes you a little nuts, right? I'm not quoting perfectly, but you've probably heard it. So you know what I mean. But what happens if you keep trying new things and none of them are working and you're not asking for new data or a new perspective or a new whatever? I had an experience recently with a human who was in front of a computer. And as they approached the computer screen to do something on it, the screen was jumping. Have you guys ever had that happen to you where you're on the computer screen, like the mouse is going crazy or it's like tabbing between two windows aggressively without your permission? You're like, what's happening? This was happening. And the person's like, oh my gosh, Melissa. And I look over and I'm like, well, hey, right? And the answer was like, help, this is happening. And I don't mind helping. I'm here to help. But let me ask you, as people who use computers, if you saw that happening, what would you do? Would you scream, help me? Or would you figure out like, well, what would make this happen? Right? Because my brain immediately goes to, I know what would make a screen do that. It's either, like I said, tabbing between windows, clicking on a mouse, something's activating that action. I know it doesn't do it itself unless there's a ghost. And if so, is it Patrick Swayze? Right? Tell him I said hi. But truth be told, if you're looking at this action, are you assessing what could be the problem? Or are you just going, help, there's a problem? Because I assess the why, the who, what, where, when, whys before I even act. I quickly do it, right? Firefighter would probably do the same thing. You come in, house is ablaze. Who's around? What can I grab? Where can I enter? Why does it matter? You know, how are the people doing? Where are the people? Whatever it is, you assess before you act. And so in this moment, if I could just be honest, I look over and I assess the situation and I see there's something leaning against the keyboard button. It's pushing it down. And if you look at the computer and took a moment to pause and assess, there's no way to miss it. But some of us immediately go to, right? Oh no, the kitchen sink's overflowing. People panic, never looking at the handle they could just click off first, right? Like, are we trying to catch the water? Or are we shutting off the stream? How are your actions helping you? What are your actions bringing? Is it more clarity? Is it a little more chaos? Can you even define it if I show up to help? If I show up in my cape and my superhero and the whole thing, and I say, dun, 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 I'm here. What are we going to do? Can you tell me? If your boss, your friend, your spouse, your therapist came up and said, hey, I want to help you. I want to do whatever it is you need. What is it you need? Could you? Could you tell them? What would it look like? These are things you got to know. Know before you act. Act and then you'll know if you're paying attention, right? Sometimes it happens where we don't have time to plan. And this is where Felipe and I have argued on the show, the Careers Chaos Show, because I dig an idea concept of SMART goals, but I think sometimes the way they define a SMART goal, it takes too much time. Like, hey, I'm going to shut off the sink water to stop the puddle on the floor. It's not something I need to sit down, define, figure out, plan. How am I going to act on it? Why does this important? No, look, do it now. Do it now. You've already done it in 8 seconds. You could assess, I don't want water on my floor. I need to stop it because this is not good. You don't need to sit down and plot it out and document it. You've mentally documented the action plan. You don't technically need to write it down because you're going to move so quickly on it. It's an immediate action. You don't have to sit there and write out a to-do list. A house fire, you don't have time to sit down and create a plan. Even if you ask AI, it's going to say, hey, many people are using this tool right now. Please be patient. I joke, but it's serious. Like, what's on fire in your life and how much time are you giving before you actually get into action to fix it? This is the stuff I want to talk about. But guys, from business to personal to the waitress to the CEO, it does not matter. You got to write it down. You can be a housewife who doesn't have a quote unquote job. And I've been that girl, and that is a whole job. It's a whole business in and of itself to run that household. And without a schedule for all the sporting events and the after school activities and the play dates and the birthdays and the chore list and the budgets and the grocery shopping list, a reminder to put the laundry in the dryer, sometimes it gets chaotic. And how much of that are you making your brain do all the time, knowing that there's a way where you could just set it and forget it with your alarm, right? I'm a Ronco fan. I grew up in the 80s. I was an infomercial baby watching it because I didn't have cable. So that was it after a certain hour. And truth be told, I bought in, right? Set it and forget it is a mentality that's smarter, not harder. It's if you're going to put your Instapot to work, your crock pot to work, the oven to work, you don't have to sit there and grill it constantly over coals. You don't have to stir the pot the whole time, right? You don't have to worry about it. You can go and do other things. And sometimes that's really neat. Sometimes that's why we hire help, right? We outsource. We ask somebody who has already figured out the plan to go ahead and act. I could put out a house fire. I probably could. I understand the concept, but have I done the hours of training to understand the way to lift a body successfully, to lift a body that is not responsive off the ground, just my own self doing it? No. I've seen the videos, though, where they hook a leg and they roll them over and they pick them up. I could barely get up off the floor by myself. I'm not going to be able to save your pain. Would I try to help? Yes. But I would rather you call the guy who did all the training, who can help faster, more effectively, more efficiently, because they don't have to write down or try to think about the process. They have it ingrained in their spirit. Hire help when you need it. If you're already at a point where you know you've wasted time because you've tried to do it yourself and you don't know the plan and you've tried a few things and it's not working, it's cost you too much time and money, don't wait till you have more money, because these bad behaviors will create less money. What you do is you say, I'm pausing every other thing and putting it all right here, right now. I would give everything in my bank account to hire the firefighter if my home is on fire, right? Immediately. Stop everything. I don't even care about the rent. Just put it out. We'll figure out the mortgage later. I don't care about the utilities right now. Here's everything I have. Put it out, right? And thankfully, we don't live in a society that requires that kind of payment. But what are those metaphorical fires in your life that you would go, here, take this money and handle it? You do it for your groceries. You do it for your food. You do it for your streaming, right? You don't go to the movies anymore. You make them bring it to you. What other dreams do you have that you would just pay to bring in? Because there are content writers out there. There are people who will just write your business plan for you. There are people who will help you with your marketing or teach you how to social media without you spending hours on the internet learning from people for free for 2 hours every week, right? Like, the value is here for people who want to be here for free. But what if you needed more of today now? And there's no promise next week I'm going to even mention this again. I mean, likely, yes. Statistically speaking, the lady who sells the document then act website brand mentality, probably going to cover it. But is it going to be the way you hope for, or are you going to act to make it so? That's the coaching, customized stuff, right? So I'm going to cover it real quick, because if you're thinking about it right now, there's a few things I have. I have a social selling package. This one is $250 right now. That helps you take your brand, that's here, your LinkedIn, and get clarity. Figure out what your profile should be telling the world you're acting on. Getting your actions to align with what your profile says. Making sure your brands, your colors, your fun, right? You see Venn diagrams, you see the bubbles, you see the glitter, you see the fun here. That's because when you see my imagery, I want you to think of all the things I've taught you and talked about and been in front of you. We're going to create that for you. Plus you get 1 hour of coaching on top of all of that, like to get it together. Then I go in the back end to help you execute. Maybe you need something different, right? And that's okay, because I have a couple of different options for everybody. But the other one, kind of just like, I need you, but not for that. This is what it looks like. I have 1 hour coaching at $250 an hour. If you want to do 4 hours, which if we're just starting out, I do not recommend starting there necessarily, but it is a good one for businesses who want to go somewhere. Maybe you want to do like a 30-day plan. Maybe you want some accountability to start a new habit. Those 4 hours, that's a month. That's 1 hour a week. You can schedule that in at the 800. But I like to meet for 1 hour first for goal setting. Move to the 4 hours if necessary. If you do that, I will give you credit for that 1 hour towards the 4. So you would just pay the difference for that 4 hour coaching. Anybody who's had that first coaching session, that does not apply, right? That's just that alignment session is that 1 hour. You will take away value no matter what, but then we take it to the next level if we need to. From the 4 hours, you can go into the annual plan. Maybe you're going to grow a business. It's not an overnight thing. Maybe you want to meet all year, but you don't want to spend $250 an hour for 52 weeks. You have a value here. That $10,000 annual plan is actually a huge cost savings. It's a commitment. I know it's a commitment, but guys, this is life-changing stuff here. This is the stuff that you take with you forever. Then last is that LinkedIn profile audit. I would not buy that one now because I have that other offer I just showed you, and it's more value currently. This one is going to give you way more value than the other. So if you're thinking social selling, if you're thinking Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, I don't care. We could do it all. That's where we're at. So thanks for coming. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to play the song, and hopefully it's not going to cut off this time. I do have to cut it off at the 2 hour mark, or I don't get to edit and chop it with AI. And I like to do it because, to be honest, I don't want to spend the time to do it otherwise. That's why I pay for this. It's the value for me, right? I paid for the difference. So thanks for coming, guys. Go check out documentthatAct.com, and I will see you next week.
Creeps through my window pane. Dreams of stars, now a faint refrain. Coffee brews and thoughts collide in this early morning ride. Wake up world, let's start the day. Insight flows in a bright array. Questions dance like morning dew. In this space, it's me and you. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup buzz a whisper. Conversations open doors. Spilling thoughts forevermore. Bubble crisp and bright. Words take flight in morning light. Consult the heart, make it sing. New perspectives on each wing. Coffee